Welcome, how is it going? Welcome to stream. Ferocious first. Got it. Nice. CZ Rally. Greetings. Matilda. Hello. Destructi. Hello. Not the Batfa. Hello, welcome. Fruit Salad Puncher. Hello. Onikage. Welcome. How is everyone doing? I definitely am not still setting up in the background. That'd be crazy. But, hello. How's everyone doing on this fine Wednesday? Let's see, there we go. Let's see if this works. Well, no, it don't work. Why? Why does the camera hate me? Boop, boop. There we go. Also, I am floating. We can fix that. Probably. How do we fix that? Great question. It's a great question. How do we fix that? There we go. There it is. Got it. Got it. But hello. Hello, welcome. Australian El Gato. Yeah. Yeah. The camera is upside down. And then flipped. Because that's how the mounting puts it. Eating a head of lettuce and pocket bacon? Are you having a wedge salad? Although if it's a whole head of lettuce, is that just a sphere salad? Stealing everyone's PayPal boat. Not the PayPal boat. Can't have mine. Can't have my PayPal boat. I'm filling my PayPal boat with all the Twitter comments calling me a pedo for liking Samba. God, people on the internet are unhinged. Wild, wild people on the internet. Is Count going to play the Holmes game? No, I don't have the Holmes game. Although apparently just everyone has been playing it. I'm not sure if the Holmes game is sponsoring everyone, or if it's just a huge trend that everyone is on right now, for some reason. Or a bit of both. It's possible that it's a bit of both. I was going to put a suppressor on this gun for the stream today, but then I realized I don't have a suppressor that can go on this gun because the thread pattern is 5/8 by 24, and I have a suppressor that would go on this, could go on this. The problem is this is 5/8 by 24, and I've got a bunch of pistons. I've got a bunch of pistons for this thing. Oh, hold on, one more. I've got a bunch of pistons for this thing, and none of them are the right thread pattern for this. I don't have a 5/8 by 24 piston to put on this thing, so I can't turn this into a machine gun by adding a suppressor, like that one congressman said I could. It's very disappointing. Still amuses me that 10,000 people left during the reveal when she showed tummy. Skill issue. Get filtered, nerd. You see how short she is? Yeah, she's like measured in centimeters, like double-digit centimeters. Saba very small. So let's find it real quick. I want to find the clip of that one idiot. There it is. 35 centimeters, 1'1". I'm sure there's going to be some absolutely degenerate people with some real strange kinks that are going to make arts about that one. The guy calling Saba chubby? Who's calling Saba chubby? She probably weighs like 3 pounds. Alright, chat. But for those who didn't see, chat, this absolute genius in Congress. Oh, you guys can't hear. Why can't you guys hear? This audio is only one side, and I am not going to fix that right now.
Combining a silencer and a concealable short-barreled rifle with easy-to-assemble and totally legal parts would allow people to convert them into untraceable, unregistered machine guns.
Well, chat, you heard it here. This guy, clearly an expert. Clearly an expert, this man. If you have a concealable rifle, you can put a suppressor on it and it becomes a machine gun. Which is why I was trying to put a suppressor on this, because everyone wants machine guns, right? But I don't have a suppressor that can go on this, which is very sad. As I could theoretically put on this. This has a 1/2 by 28 thread. The suppressor's definitely not. The suppressor's not rated for this, for sure. So that probably would end poorly. Put that Congress critter in the critter explosion chamber. Yeah, add that one to the very long list of Congress critters saying just stupid things. I'm sorry, sir. I lost my congressman in a boating accident. I think that guy's from Massachusetts, if I remember correctly. So Massachusetts living up to their reputation. The reputation of absolutely brain dead representatives. Ferocious. Mine were lost in a terrible boxed wine incident. It fell on them Rest in peace. Yankee opinion disregarded. The problem is that the Yankee opinion still has a vote, which is unacceptable, clearly. Yawn starting early. This isn't good. This isn't good. It's not a good start. Oh, I meant to. I've meant to all day. I was going to text somebody to ask if I could shoot on their property. And I have forgotten to do it all day. And I have forgotten. So I'm gonna do that right now. So hold on a second while I send message. Would it be possible? Oh, can't spell. Would it be possible to shoot guns at your place on the 4th? Gotta go shoot guns on the 4th, chat. All right, there we go. I've been meaning to send that all day today and the last few days. I expect the answer is yes, but I also don't know if they have other stuff planned. They could have planned things without my knowledge because they have their own business, and I'm not in their business. Matilda, just notice the markings on the mag and the RDB match the mag well. What mag is that? Yeah, so the markings on this mag, they do match the mag well very well. This mag, once I put that back down, this is the MSBS Grot mag. So it wasn't made for this gun, but it was pretty much made for this gun. Grot, is this real? At Grot, is this real? Would you mind if I engaged in America behavior on your property on the 4th? I don't know. I don't know what time they're going to bed. They might be going to bed early. They have a real person productive job that they have to wake up for early in the morning. I don't know if I'm gonna get a response today. It's Dodo. It is Dodo. Click, click, click. Gonna do hood rat-ish with the friends on the 4th. No, don't be a hood rat. Be a respectable American on the 4th. Be someone the founding fathers would be proud of. Exercise your Second Amendment and the rest of your amendment rights. Some of them are easier to exercise than others. I'm gonna celebrate the 4th of July by not letting troops be quartered in my house. Easy. We fire blanks in the neighborhood to keep the property values down. What you need to do is fire blanks in the neighborhood that you want to move to lower the property value. For a second, I thought that was that janky M4 type deal that was meant to be screwed into a Bradley. I don't think this would be particularly effective. Being screwed into a Bradley. 9mm is not really ideal for a vehicle mounted gun. I'm sure it would be better than like throwing rocks out the windows, but it is probably not my first choice. Manson, welcome. Pistol caliber mag gave it away. Yeah, we got a little itty bitty mag in here. I got longer mags too, but it's a small version of the gun, so you gotta have the small mag in it. So little guy. All right, so chat. As I'm sure most people here know, there's stuff going on in Congress to try and make things very similar to this more accessible. And so, there's a lot going on. And we have Mr. AK Man to bring us the details. So, I've not been following it too much today. I don't know what's been going on. I've been a little busy today. Don't know what's been going on with it today. So, Mr. AK Man, give us the news, give us the deets. Count for Congress, goodness no. People wouldn't like me in Congress. All right, let's see.
All right, well, big news week, guys, and I'm not going to sugarcoat it. I'm fucking pissed.
The yeas are 50. The nays are 50. The Senate being evenly divided, the Vice President votes in the affirmative. The bill as amended is passed.
What?
Cowards. Cowards. It could be worse, though.
The fight isn't over yet, and I'm not going to let them take this without a fight. And I'm going to tell you why you shouldn't either and what you can do. So in this video, I'll tell you what happened, what can happen next, and why even the worst case scenario has a silver lining I don't see a lot of people talking about. So you can keep that black pill in your hand, just don't take it yet. So here's
no
a quick
black pilling,
TLDR
chat.
For those of
we
you
don't
who
black
might
pill
not be in the
here.
loop. In the big, beautiful bill, there has been a several-month street fight on Capitol Hill trying to work in provisions that give us some of the biggest gun rights wins we've seen in a century. Now, there's a lot of things to be said about this big, beautiful bill. There's a lot of things people have issues with, and a lot of those things I think are valid, like the public land sale provision that thankfully was
that
removed.
one was
big
bad.
win on that, especially for you guys who shoot on public land out west. For the sake of this video in particular, though, I will solely be addressing the Second Amendment related provisions and the crippling of the NFA, or the National Firearms Act. So when this bill went through the House, we added to it the HPA, the Hearing Protection Act, basically the deregulation of silencers, suppressors, whatever, getting them off the NFA so you can literally just walk into a gun store and buy it like a firearm. No wait period, no registration, no tax stamp. So because of
Yeah, as it should be. As it should be. The fact that you have to go through extra paperwork, extra registration, extra taxes is ridiculous.
your help and the pressure that you applied to your congressman, we were able to get that through. The next fight was in the Senate, and not only did we get the Senate to keep it, they also added on the Short Act, which takes SBRs, SBSs, short-barreled rifles, short-barrel shotguns, and AOWs, any other weapon, and takes those completely off the NFA as well, which is a huge, that you crippled most of the NFA at this point. But just recently, a couple of days ago, those got dropped by the Senate parliamentarian as not being compliant with the Byrd Act.
Cowards. This is good. I haven't read the new text that's Byrd rule compliant that's currently in the bill. Does it still include the section about destructive devices and things being able to be categorized as destructive devices arbitrarily, like the Striker 12? I don't know. I might have to go do my own research on that one.
Which basically says that because it's not regulating, tax policy, that it is not allowed to be on the bill, claiming that the NFA is not a tax. Which is stupid for reasons I will get into later. But because it wouldn't be compliant in this bill, it would need a separate thing, which would require like a 60-40 vote instead of 50. And unfortunately, there is just no fucking way that we are going to get, even one Democrat senator to flip on a gun bill like this, much less.
Yeah, unfortunately, the people in Congress or people in general don't have any interest in actually having conversations and listening to others. Whenever people talk in Congress, they just yell at each other and only take everything and give everything in bad faith. So there's no chance that anyone on either side is going to be convinced to change about nearly anything.
The votes that we need. So instead of getting full removal from the NFA, what we got is a watered down Plan B version, where instead of removing it from the NFA entirely, it just takes the $200 tax stamps on those items and drops it down to $0. I know, don't get too excited. I may not be showing it right now because I've had a couple of days to process my big fee-fees and, re-strategize. But I'm fucking pissed about this one. We came so close to accomplishing something that I would have said a year ago was a pipe dream. We played it by the book. The pressure you put on the House, the Senate, everything all the way through, crippling the NFA and landing on the desk of the president, who was definitely going to sign it. NFA crippled, slam dunk, home run.
We almost came, chat. We were edged. We tried so hard, and the Senate just edged us. We got denied. After all that work we put in, trying to make it happen, they just pulled out at the last second. It didn't happen.
The finish line because of a decision made by a Harry Reid appointed Democrat Senate staffer known as a parliamentarian in a position that constitutionally holds zero authority and didn't really even exist until the 1930s. Why does she still have a job? Reminder, she can be fired at any moment by the will of Senate Majority Leader Thune. And it's honestly an infuriating travesty that he hasn't yet, which you can let him know about at this number. Just gonna leave that up there for a couple more seconds. So guys, I'm not gonna lie to you. When I first heard about this, I felt defeated. Like, no shit, I felt numb. Like we'd put all this effort into something for nothing. And I understand if you guys feel that way too. But after having a lot of conversations with people that I trust on the Hill, I know now that the fight is not over.
It's not over
This was
yet.
a dick punch. I'm not sugarcoating that. But we still have a path to victory. And this is what that looks like. So good.
We got punched in the nads, chat. Got punched right in the gonads. And now it's time to punch back.
Good news for the 2A guys. This bill is in trouble. By the time you guys are watching this, probably the bill will be back in the House to decide its fate. So it's not just the gun guys. There's actually a lot of things that the Senate parliamentarian fucked up in this bill in the Senate version that people in the House Republicans, are not happy
There's
about.
there's
It's really
a
hard
lot
to
of people
predict right now, but it
upset
is
about this bill.
entirely possible that this does not pass in its current configuration. There is huge pressure to pass this by July 4th, but we'll see if the members of the House are going to stand firm and fight on this. Representative Andrew Clyde, my sweet summer prince.
Andrew Clyde, what an absolute giga Chad. I just want to shake this man's hand. Like all the Congress critters, a bunch of useless cowards. This man is actually fighting for something. Wonderful.
Fellow FFL holder and Second Amendment spirit animal has already introduced an amendment that will put the original Senate language back into the bill, removing suppressors, SBRs, etc. from the NFA and sending it back to the Senate.
When I came to Washington, I promised to not only protect and defend my constituents' Second Amendment rights, but to restore these God-given freedoms that have been taken from us. Removing the National Firearms Act taxation and registration of suppressors and short-barreled firearms provides a tremendous step towards achieving this critical goal.
But Brandon, you beautiful floating head on my screen, poetry. You may ask, if the parliamentarian shot it down the first time, why would the second time be any different? Well, in this scenario, the failed provisions from the Senate parliamentarian actually become a huge political pressure point. The powers that be want to pass this bill. If Trump and JD know that the only way to get this bill passed is to override the Senate parliamentarian, one that Trump has voiced open frustration with on this bill already, then it should be a no-brainer. Overrule or, preferably, fire the parliamentarian. It is something that is
I'm gonna be honest. A lot of the things that the parliamentarian ruled on, I don't disagree with. Of all of the critters in the Senate, this might make some people mad. Of all the critters in the Senate, from what I've seen, the parliamentarian is the most nonpartisan. Even though this one specific decision was wildly partisan. This was a partisan decision. I think most of the decisions they release aren't bad. So just overrule them. You don't have to fire them right now. If they keep being bad, then yeah, go for it. Just overrule them.
Perfectly within the power of Senate Majority Leader Thune and or JD Vance to do. Fire the parliamentarian, give us the bill that we voted for, and fuck the opinion of somebody that nobody voted for. Period. Fin. End of discussion. Check, please. Now, let's talk.
A nuanced political opinion. In these times, unacceptable. Unacceptable. But so, if you don't like that argument, I have another one, Chan. If you just overrule the parliamentarian, it's a way easier process. If you fire and replace, then you have to have like confirmations, and you got to get them into office. You got to have people apply, and I don't know how that whole process works. If you just overrule them, easy process. Send the bill on its way. If you fire and get a new parliamentarian, longer process. A lot more stuff going on. Meh. Saying I don't trust politicians. When did I say I trust politicians? Politicians are gross and scummy. Like 98% of the time. I don't know if you guys want a new parliamentarian. It sounds like you're trusting politicians to nominate a new one that's good. I already know how this parliamentarian is. You gonna roll your D&D dice on a new parliamentarian, or take the easy, quick route and just overrule? When a Zoomer parliamentarian that no one takes seriously, so they never get listened to. Now, some Zoomers are pretty base, though.
Talk about the backup plan of taking the NFA from a $200 tax stamp down to a $0 tax. Compared to removal from the NFA, this fucking sucks. Is it still a win? Yeah, I guess. But it kind of feels like ordering a big
barely
juicy
a win
cheeseburger. You know, like the good kind, like the one you're thinking of right now.
Oh, that's a good looking
and instead
burger.
Getting a fucking piece of lettuce and 3 fries. It's more than we had before, but it's almost an insult compared to what we rightfully had in our grasp.
You take your lettuce and you be happy.
Brennan, you said be thankful for wins. This wasn't the win. I'm not saying no matter what your representatives do, like just take it and say fucking thank you. No, I'm saying like support the guys who are actively fighting for us, which we did.
Say thank you to the people who are fighting for it, or who did fight for it once this is all over, whichever way it turns out. Don't say thank you to the cowards who tried to stop it along the way.
And it worked beautifully all the way through the House, the Senate, and then we got fucked on this tech. Don't get me back on that. I'm cool.
Okay, fine, I'm cool, I'm fine.
But where I'm going with this is there is a silver lining if this is what we do get stuck with. Just hear me out. So the NFA, the National Firearms Act, levies a $200 tax on machine guns, suppressors, SPRs, SPSs, whatever. You know that. It was passed in 1934. In 1937, 3 years later, it was actually taken to the Supreme Court, questioning whether or not it was constitutional, as it goes against the Second Amendment, which, I mean, get that man a steak dinner. Anyhow, the court in 1937 decided 8-1 that the NFA was constitutional, but only because it wasn't a registration or a regulation, but because it was a tax. They're not keeping...
It wasn't a registration. What? Yeah, it is. You're registering your tax.
Keeping a log of the firearms, they're keeping a log of who paid the tax. You see, even since 1937, there have been laws that have been passed codifying the fact that it is illegal for the feds to have a gun registry, at least of privately owned firearms. In the current language of the big beautiful bill, in this, fucking half measure shit, the plan is to remove the $200 tax. If that's removed, what the fuck is it now, if not a tax? The entire deciding factor of what made the NFA constitutional is now gone. And I guess this is where the fun begins. Also, it just kind of goes to show how fucking stupid the parliamentarian was in ruling that the NFA is not a tax, considering that the Supreme Court of the United States literally made a decision that the hinge pin of which was deciding that the NFA was a tax. Literally the only reason the NFA was allowed to even stay in effect, but fuck me. The fuck do I know? So while this is really good news, this should still not be plan A. For one, why would we leave to a future court battle what we could win in Congress right now? We should be fighting this tooth and nail down to the last man immediately, not potentially later.
Dang, I just cut my nails. I can't fight with my nails as well.
This will be fucking expensive to fight, and will still take several years before even getting to the Supreme Court. But like said, while this is not a plan A, I am not saying...
Another problem is court cases take a long time to get anywhere. If this goes through with the $0, the free tax registration, it would pretty much have to get through before there was a change of power. Because if there's a change of power, then they'll just increase the tax to, I don't know, probably the $200, except with inflation from 1934. Which is disgusting and gross. So if this goes through with the $0 tax, then like GOA, NAGR, hopefully the NRA, ILA, or whatever they're called now, will do something, which would be a nice change. Like they're gonna have to absolutely just like run that thing through the courts, push that hard, because they would have to get through before power change. Would we need SCOTUS to make this challenge go through? Yeah, pretty much. Pretty much it would have to be a Supreme Court ruling. We know how SCOTUS goes. They're mixed. There are some pretty good rulings that have come out of SCOTUS. I mean, we've got Clarence Thomas up there. He's usually very good.
This is a good thing. I'm not saying this is what we should be pushing for. I'm just saying the reality of it is, on the bright side, it does temporarily make NFA items cheaper, while in the long run, giving us a legal roadmap to dismantling the NFA.
3.6 Rontgen per hour.
Well, that's not great, but it's not horrifying.
If there is still time, please pressure your representatives to fight for this in the bill that will go back to the Senate, hopefully. And please encourage Senate Majority Leader Thune to make this chick look for another job. I really don't know why she's still here. That's where we're at. Not all news is good news, but it's important to know where we're at so we can know where we need to continue to apply pressure. Like I said, every time we've applied pressure so far throughout this process, it has worked. I've got friends on the Hill who are telling me that there is no group of people that has been as vocal as the gun crowd.
Let's go.
That's why we got what we wanted in the House. We got what we wanted in the Senate.
Gun crowd
we
being
can't throw up our
unified,
hands and take the easy
that's
way out.
crazy.
Will this work out in our favor? Who knows? But we got to try. I'm going to keep making phone calls, and I hope you do too. This is bigger than us. This is bigger.
I have been making phone calls nearly every day for the last few weeks. I have never made so many phone calls in my life. And who'd have thought I'd be calling the government? Not me. If you had asked me 2 or 3 months ago, hey, how many times are you going to call the government?
G3 Matt R15 just subscribed for 4 months.
G3 Matt, thank you for the subscription. The music is still so loud. I don't know where the music is coming from, or I would turn it down a little bit. Atomic. The government's always calling you. Why? Dare I ask why? So chat, what are the chances Brandon runs for Senate against Cornyn? Because old man Cornyn has got primaries coming up. Daddy will. Yeah, I don't think he will. I don't think that Brandon's going to run for Senate. But if he did, but if he did, oh boy, if Brandon ran for Senate, I'm going to become the most politically active I have ever been, and it won't be close. And I apologize. Atomic. I was told by one I was being kidnapped for 2 months in August. kidnapped by the government. Is it ICE? Is ICE coming for you? He barely lost last time. Yep, I don't remember exactly the numbers for how many votes Brandon lost his House run, but it was low triple digits. Like, if ever you've thought that your vote doesn't count, it's runs like that. Like Herrera against Gonzalez, that every single vote matters.
Bigger than what I'm doing on a Friday night. This is the future of the country. This is the country that you're going to be passing on to your kids. For those who come after.
Kids.
If anyone's nerdy enough to get that reference. I'm also not running any sponsors on this video because fuck it. Money's cool and all, helps me buy cool shit for the channel and continue to feed my shop employees Chef Boyardee and Uncrustables.
Yo,
but I'm just getting this out as fast as I
the
can
lunch
because
of
this needs to
champions.
go to you ASAP. So if you want to support the channel, please just help me fight this fight. I don't want to become like a political only channel that's doing like updates on every like fucking gun law, but I try to do this stuff when I think it can make a difference. And this is just such a big opportunity right now. This is an opportunity like I've never seen in my lifetime. And I just don't want to waste it. When I did that live stream to encourage people to contact their representatives, just the fact that I went live, it just fucking killed me in the YouTube algorithm. It was fucking massacre. If you could help me get out of that rut, if you could just make sure you're still subscribed and hit that notification icon.
Smash
it really
that
does
like
go
button.
a long way. I greatly appreciate it. In case it doesn't work out,
there you go, Chad.
I don't know.
There
I don't
you
know
go.
what to tell you. God wins in the end. But I appreciate you guys for staying with me through my ramblings. More fun content coming soon. I didn't forget about that Darwin episode. And I will see you sexy YouTube mother lovers
in the next video. Oh, in the next episode.
Thanks, guys.
Dang it. Oh, we got bloopers. We got bloopers at the end. Hold. Hold.
I don't have enough time, and I'm that fuck. Fucking Leo DiCaprio. All right, well, big news.
Hey, stop. It's not over yet. The fight's not over. We'll see where it goes. We'll see where it goes. Can we watch the Saba clips next? Why? Why do you just want to watch Saba clips? Because she's cute? Okay. Well, can't argue with that. Cannot argue with that. Oh. Chat. Chat, chat. I don't know what's going on here, but they're voting on something. They're voting on something, and it's not going through. I don't know what they're convening about. I don't know what's going on here. But they don't have enough yays. Some amended resolution. I don't know what it is, though. On agreeing to the resolution as amended. I wish they would give useful information here. Like, give me the title of the resolution or something. They hide everything intentionally. So in this specific case, I don't know if it's intentional. Because having, you know, the live stream going and having everything up on the live stream would be more work. Not gonna lie, it'd be more work. But they still should. They're just being lazy. Argentina has better gun laws than the US now? Okay, I'm not going to go that far. I'm not going to go as far as to say that Argentina has better gun laws than the US. Because in Argentina, you still have to have a license just to own a gun. Beyond that, though, yes. Pet RDB. We can do that. Oh, I got a reply. I got a reply. Got a reply from the guy who I want to go shoot on his property. Possibly. Let me get back to you later. Okay. Okay, solid maybe. Solid maybe for this particular option of going shooting on the 4th. If I get a no from them, there's a couple other people I could ask. There's a couple other people. Unfortunately, I'm trying to plan this like last second because I'm bad at planning. There's other options though. Can we watch Collian Noir? I'm gonna be honest, chat. This might be a little bit of a hot take. This might be a little bit of a hot take, but Collian Noir kind of comes across to me as a sellout. And like I'm not gonna fault him for that, because I'm sure he gets buku bucks from his sponsors. But half of his videos feel like they're just like a sponsor sellout, or a product provided for free and technically not a sponsor sellout. Only kind of. Sometimes Collian does have legitimately good videos. So like the Collian Amaranth video, I thought that was a pretty good video. It didn't have any sponsor segments in it, and it was just like an interview kind of video. I thought that was a good video. Not a fan of him. Every word out of his mouth was carefully designed to fearmonger into buying. That's why I don't dislike Collian like as a person or as a content creator. I do think that he does sometimes have valuable things to say. And I'm not about to fault someone for getting that bag, right? His video formats just aren't they're just not for me. It's not for me, right? And that's fine. Not everyone's videos are for everyone. I've got YouTube videos, and they're not for everyone, and that's okay. The Argentina video I saw was decent. Oh, he made an Argentina video? Dang it. Dang, we might have to watch that one. Man.
Okay.
Okay. All right, we might have to watch it. Scan. Okay, this one looks like it only has about 1.5 minutes of sponsors. So that's not too bad. That's not too bad for a Collian video. He's also got some new stylish glasses, chat. Look at those glasses. Look at this guy. Nerd. All right, let's see. Let's see what he has to say about Argentina. I'm sure it is very good.
Okay. Let's talk about Argentina. Because they just did something that's got every freedom-loving, gun-owning American raising an eyebrow and tipping their hat. In a move that screams freedom upgrade, Argentina President Javier Milei just signed a decree lifting a 3-decade-old ban on semi-automatic firearms. Yeah,
Based.
That's right.
Giga Chad.
30 years of telling citizens, sorry, but you're not responsible enough for these scary-looking weapons. Well, Argentina finally woke up and smelled the liberty. Now, according to Breitbart, the original restrictions from 1995 block civilians from owning semi-autos with removable magazines larger than 22
removable magazines.
Essentially, the Argentine government told its people,
unacceptable.
You can't be trusted with anything stronger than a squirrel gun. But Milei's administration...
Okay, well, hold on. A semi-automatic with removable magazines. You can definitely have larger than squirrel guns. Like, you can have a 45-70 lever gun. You can have an elephant gun, bolt action rifles, break actions. Like, let's not just pretend that they are only allowed to have varmint rifles. Now, were their gun laws really bad before? Yes. But it's not quite as bad as he's making it sound.
Magazines larger than 22 long rifle. Essentially, the Argentine government told its people, you can't be trusted with anything stronger than a squirrel gun.
Boy, chat, I do love my 600 nitro squirrel gun. It's a break action, so it's okay.
But Milei's administration just called foul on that nonsense, emphasizing the need to reevaluate the control mechanisms established back then. Let me hit you with the direct quote from the decree. A special authorization regime is hereby established for the acquisition and possession of semi-automatic weapons fed with removable magazines similar to rifles, carbines, or assault submachine guns derived from military weapons with a caliber greater than 22 long rifle, requested by legitimate firearm users.
Hold on. Machine guns, submachine guns. Hold on. I didn't know that they were possibly legalizing machine guns. I thought it was just semi-auto. Hold on here. Can we get a confirmation on that one? I thought it was just semi-auto.
Translation, Argentina is saying, look, we trust responsible citizens. Let's make it legal, keep it transparent, and ditch the bureaucratic circus. But let's put this into perspective because context matters. Argentina's gun control history is a roller coaster of restriction, paperwork nightmares, and governmental paranoia.
Man, that kind of sounds like the NFA.
For decades, the law-abiding Argentine gun owner faced suffocating bureaucracy, endless paperwork, and mountains of red tape so thick you'd think the guns were radioactive. Legitimate firearm owners ended up stuck with weapons they couldn't legally transfer, sell, or even properly register due to these outdated laws.
Just say all these same things about the NFA. It's perfect.
Milei's government recognized the absurdity, stepping in and clearly stating, we want to make it easy to be within the law. That regularity does not have bureaucracy. That's some refreshing honesty right there. It's government actually saying, we trust our citizens. Let's streamline this nonsense. Now, let's flip the lens and ask ourselves, why should we here in the US care about what Argentina's doing? Here's why. Argentina is pulling itself away from the global trend of fear-based policymaking. At a time when so many countries, including our own, keep stacking restrictions based purely on optics and political pandering, Argentina just stepped out and said, responsible gun ownership isn't the problem. Think about it.
Huge.
While the U.S. continues to wrestle with the same tired, fear-driven arguments around assault weapons, Argentina, a country with its own complex history of unrest and stringent controls and no equivalent of our Second Amendment, is boldly empowering its citizens. They've acknowledged a critical fact. Regular people aren't the issue, and denying them their rights doesn't make anyone safer. Argentina is making the US look soft on guns right now. Seriously, America, the home of the Second Amendment, is still stuck debating whether or not people should have access to AR-15s. Seriously, America.
Well, I guess we're going to have to watch this Argentina experiment pretty closely. Because if it goes really well down there, because Argentina is a place that has historically not been one of the most peaceful places on earth. But if they can pull through that, if it can become a respectful society, able to own all these scary guns, very interesting. To be fair, submachine guns are not really much different than semi-auto in capability 99% of the time. Yeah, it's true. It's facts. In practical uses, or let's be honest, a lot of impractical uses, a submachine gun doesn't provide many advantages over a semi-automatic. Of course, there are certain things that it does provide, which is why, militaries and police use full auto capabilities. But a lot of the time, even in the military, their guns will still be on semi-auto. Because unless you're laying down covering fire as a machine gunner, you're running out there with an M249. Meh. Not a whole lot of practical uses for auto, if we're honest.
America, the home of the Second Amendment, is still stuck debating whether or not people should have access to the very firearms Argentina just legalized. CTV News pointed out that President Milei, though previously cautious, has now firmly moved towards liberalizing gun laws, a bold shift reflecting trust rather than suspicion. And get this, the Argentine government even recently lowered the firearm ownership age from 21 to 18.
So, okay, lowered the age from 21 to 18. Is that for all gun ownership? Or just for certain guns? Yes, as a Congress member, Milei defended the free carry of weapons, but while campaigning for president in 2023, he said he had no plans to completely deregulate gun ownership. His government has, however, substantially relaxed the country's gun laws. In May this year, the government followed up by launching an express online gun application for civilians who say they will use their weapon for sport. Okay, so I don't know if Colleen's going to talk about this last paragraph. We still got some video left. So they still need a license to own the gun. And it's still for sport. So for Argentina, is this a huge step in the correct direction? Yes. But you still need a license. And it's a sporting purposes gun. Sporting purposes, in quotes.
Recognizing the maturity and responsibility of young adults. So yeah, imagine that. Treating adults like adults. Now, I'm not saying Argentina has instantly turned into a gun rights utopia. They still require psychological tests, strict identification, and mandatory training. But what they have done, importantly, is shift the conversation from fear and restriction to responsibility and transparency. Why should that matter to us in America? Because Argentina just provided a global example of trusting its citizens instead of demonizing them. It's a message we...
the government trusting its citizens? Unacceptable. They should respect their citizens.
desperately need here. A reminder that firearms aren't inherently evil and the regular everyday folk aren't the villains. This move in Argentina shows us it's possible to reassess outdated and overly restrictive gun laws rationally and reasonably. It's a demonstration that empowering responsible gun ownership instead of punishing it is not just logical, it's genuinely progressive. Maybe we can learn something from Argentina's decision. Maybe, just maybe, trusting citizens and ditching unnecessary bureaucracy isn't such a radical idea after all. Speaking of standing up for rational...
It's kind of a radical idea comparing to the systems we have in place currently.
Freedom. Let's talk about the Defend America collection, like the hat that I'm wearing right now.
Ads. Ads. Okay. No need for them ads. Go buy Colleen stuff. There you go. You get the SparkNotes version of his ads. What percentage of their population can realistically afford the licensing training psych eval, I wonder? That's a good question. I don't know how much all of that costs in either money or time. Argentina gun license cost. Let's see. Cost of guns and ammunition in Argentina. Oh, this is 2022. I need something more recent. Tools? Anytime. In the past month? Let's see. Sorry you brought the video up. Why? Don't apologize for bringing the video up. It was a decent video. It wasn't one of Colleen's videos where he's like just praising a company and trying to write poetry about how great an FN SCAR is or something. It was an informative video. That was one of the better Colleen videos. I think, I'm gonna be honest, most of my hesitancy with Colleen is because of his gun review videos. And because those reviews are bought and paid for. See, I can't find anything. All right, let's see. Overview of gun laws by nation. The longest Wikipedia article everywhere. Control find. Argentina. Okay, so Argentina, you need a reason to purchase. Your reasons can be collection, sport, shooting, hunting. Long guns allowed, handguns allowed. I don't know if this is up to date. Semi-automatic rifles is blank, so I don't think this is up to date. Firearm carrying, open carry. Proof of threat to life required. Concealed carry, proof of threat to life required. No magazine capacity limits with registration. Uh, 6 years for possession of a prohibited weapons. Only 6 years for possessing a prohibited weapon. How much do you get in the US? What's the penalty in the US for owning a unregistered NFA item. Rock, tell me. What is the penalty for possessing an unregistered NFA item? I spelled unregistered. So, Argentina, your penalty for owning an unregistered or illegal firearm is 3 to 6 years. In the United States, it is 7 years federal and a fine of $250,000. Crazy. Wild. Again, Cali, dropping a couple grand and many hours of vacation from your job every several years is needed for a carry permit. That's something relatively few can do, and those that need it most are least likely to be able to. Yeah. The government requiring training, well, I do support. I think that everyone who owns a gun should train and should be trained to use it. The problem is I don't trust the government to fairly, how do I say this? I don't trust the government to fairly regulate the training requirements. Because you can see in states that have training requirements where that goes. So yes, if you own a gun, you should be proficient with the gun. Absolutely. I don't think the government is the best vehicle to enforce that. I think it mostly should be enforced by society. Shame people who don't train with their guns. Make them feel bad. Bring back bullying and gatekeeping. Oh. The House is voting on something else. Or maybe the same thing now, I'm not sure. Hold on, video? Video released 5 hours ago. They accidentally just eliminated the NFA and nobody noticed.
Well, the idea of...
Okay, this might be a Congress apologist in this situation. We'll hear him out, though. We'll hear him out. I'm curious to see what he says. I'm curious to know what he says.
Well, the idea of never having to pay another $200 tax stamp is one step closer to reality.
Now, if we can just get Congress not to be so short-sighted. Yes!
Today we're going to be looking at...
Okay, not a great start. Yes, paying $200 for an NFA item is not wonderful. The big problem most people have with it is the registration, not the $200. Not off to a great start. We'll keep hearing them out though.
At the unintended consequences, the pros and cons if this eventually goes through the House, it gets voted on, and then of course if it finally gets signed into law, what is this going to look like for the regular gun owner? We're going to look at those pros and cons, but we're also going to look at a much deeper level. What happens down the road? What are the possibilities here as far as the NFA and how it's tied to tax stamps? And is there any consequences there? Because there's some
the
real
NFA
things that
is
are on the table
intrinsically
here that
tied
you may
to
not be thinking about.
having
And
a
lot of
paid
them are
tax.
good. Actually, most of this is gonna be good, but there's also gonna be some growing pains too. So I'm gonna cover all of it. And the last thing I want you to think is like, I hate this move because in my opinion, even though it's not what we wanted, I think they could have easily tied the $200 tax stamp to the cost of the registry. There is somewhat of a silver lining here that I want.
What do you mean? They could have tied the $200 tax stamp to the cost of the registry. The registry is the registration of the $200 being paid. You got to do mental gymnastics to unlink the two. You don't have to do anything to link them together.
Want to talk about as well. And any barrier that's removed for people in order for people to exercise their rights, I'm a fan of. But maybe I was short-sighted on the fact that if you do remove the taxes, there's something else that comes along with this later down the road. So kind of exciting, man, but you know, I'm just laying out some possibilities there. And of course, I want to hear your opinion. What do you think some of the pros and cons are to a bill like this moving forward? If it gets passed, we're going to talk about them and I want to hear you.
From what he said so far, I'm a little skeptical. We're keeping an open mind here though.
Your opinion as well. Let's go ahead and jump right in. Now let's talk about some of the good, obvious things right off the rip. Well, you don't have to pay $200 anymore, an extra $200 in order to exercise your rights. Take this rugged Oculus right here that I have on here that has one of these little heat shields, whatever. But anyways, this thing, you know, $400, but you have to pay another $200 in order to buy this. And that goes for every...
So speaking purely in terms of the health and well-being of my wallet, and ignoring the constitutionality and the registration of the firearm, thinking only monetarily. Yes. Saving $200 for every tax stamp, good. Particularly for someone like me who has a lot of a lot of things waiting on Form 1s that I haven't done because I'm lazy, and so I've got a whole bunch of incomplete projects.
Every single NFA item that you own, right? Some people have thousands of dollars tied up in just tax stamps. And it's a barrier to people today, for sure. $200 is nothing to sneeze at. But it was a huge barrier for people in the 30s. They were essentially making suppressor and SBR ownership so expensive, the average American could work for 20 years and never be able to afford something like that. Adjusted for inflation, that $200 tax stamp back then was actually $4,500. Now, remember that because this is going to be very important to what I talk about here in a couple of minutes. So, we remove one of the barriers. I think that's fantastic. I don't think you should be able to charge additional money for people to exercise their rights. And if you don't believe that suppressors are protected or shouldn't be protected under the Second Amendment, just remember that these things are definitely in common use now, even with all the barriers in place. They're legal.
They are.
And
suppressors definitely in common use. I don't remember the exact statistic, for how many suppressors have been sold in previous years. But in 2023, it was in the millions in 1 year. Common use, there's a lot of them.
Almost every single state, I think 42 states have them legalized. You got millions of them out there. So it's just like the pistol brace thing, right? It is simply an accessory that you can use on a firearm, but in some ways it necessitates.
Okay, let's not compare these to pistol braces. I hate pistol braces and they're gross. And they absolutely are a loophole get around for having a stock on a technically not SBR. Pistol brace, I hate the pistol brace argument. Pistol braces are ugly and they're not comfortable and they're not good at anything, including bracing the pistol.
The use of that firearm. I've been around gun ranges and stuff for, well, over a decade now, and you know, a lot of them run into the issue of having noise complaints and, you know, lawyers and attorneys and court costs just simply by being there because people don't like the noise. Now, I'm not saying that that's right, obviously, but if you have more people that own suppressors, not only do they help themselves because it protects your hearing, of course, but also you're going to create a quieter space for everybody. It's like telling somebody that
being considerate,
works a jackhammer all day that, hey, you can have that hearing protection, but only once you pay the $200, and we have to put your name on the registry just because those earplugs are actually making your job and that tool a lot quieter. Same premise goes here. You're going to have a lot more people that are willing to get into this now because the financial barrier has gone away. And that may open the door for additional FFLs. Maybe you're in a small town where FFLs are like, look, there's not enough people here that are willing to go through this process. I just can't do it, right? Some of these smaller rural places, they need those FFLs, right? These are...
So there are some smaller FFLs around me who I really like. I really like the little FFLs. But if they're going to do NFA items, then they're competing with the larger gun shops that have like the silencer shop partner kiosks and stuff in them. And so just as a business, they decided that it's not worth it to do the NFA stuff. Which, I mean, it's their business. They can choose whatever they want, but it's just a little disappointing.
Necessary to you and me exercising our rights in a lot of places. But now if they see that barrier's removed, maybe some more FFLs actually get their SOTs and special licensing and become Class 3 dealers in order to provide that service to you. So we probably will have an influx of people getting into this. FFLs may become Class 3 dealers, so there's better access, maybe more competition now between some of the big manufacturers, right? Some more innovative products. We've already seen a huge boom in this industry,
encouraging innovation.
10 years. And so this is only going to solidify that and lead to another 10, 15, 20-year increase. It's becoming so common for people that own firearms to have suppressors as well, or some kind of NFA item. Now, there's one huge benefit here that I don't want to touch on just yet. I want to cover some of the cons about what's going to happen here, but I want to save the best for last, okay? So just bear with me here. But some of the cons, of course, is going to be you're still going to have the registry part of it. And this keeps a lot.
That is a huge problem. I have a problem. I know a lot of other people have a problem with the actual registry. I don't have as much of a problem as some other people because I already have things on the registry. Here's my very scary tube. But if you don't have things on the registry and you also are very distrustful of the government, which is very reasonable, then I can understand still not wanting to do that.
A lot of people out of buying NFA altogether because you're given fingerprints and photo IDs and socials and all kinds of information off to the...
Okay, let's be honest. The government already has your photo and your social security number because they gave it to you. The government already has my fingerprints. And because I have a carry license. It's like there is nothing I am giving the government that they don't have access to anyways. Like, literally all the information on the NFA paperwork, the government already has.
The government in order to exercise these rights, and that information stays on a registry, and unfortunately that is going to stay in place. The other thing that's going to happen here is the systems, right? So you are going to probably see an influx of people buying NFA items, right? Just like when they switched to e-forms a couple years back, right? You had a ton of people that e-filed, and the systems got all bugged out. Well, you're probably going to see some of that as well. Now,
government systems not working.
This is going to be crucial because you got to think about it. All these places that have suppressors, and the e-forms online ATF website, how are they going to handle the fact that the tax is now deferred, or however they classify it now? So they're going to have to rewrite those programs. So there's going to be growing pains there. There's also going to be,
I mean, if all that happens is the tax is reduced from $200 to $0, there's not a lot of changes they're going to have to do. There's going to be very few changes to get the systems to just not charge you money for these items. Like, I could probably make that update in a day. And I'm a little rusty on my programming. It's been a while since I've done much programming, but I have in the past. Not the bad. You need to give your fingerprint for CCW in Texas. Such a horrible state for 2A. You used to. Texas still, or not still, Texas does now have constitutional carry. So you can carry in Texas without a carry license. I still have my carry license, and I still keep it updated, because then you get reciprocity with other states. You also get to skip the NICS section of the 4473 with the carry license. I don't know if you've noticed, but with the amount of guns I have done a significant amount of 4473s. So having the license, while not required in Texas anymore, does still give some perks. It also just looks better in front of a jury if you ever do have to use a weapon in self-defense.
Be growing pains in trying to get your NFA items. Is probably going to take longer, at least for, I don't know, maybe a couple of months. But then once that initial rush is over, it's going to settle out and probably be as quick as it is right now. Now, this is kind of a big deal because remember, you're looking at ATF cuts, and so less people to look at these.
Oh, I didn't think about that. ATF budget and personnel cuts. The wait time, it definitely going to be going up if the tax is reduced to 0. And probably the website's going to be crashing due to traffic. Do driver's licenses and a state ID count as having info on you? Yes. So the yes on that used to be yes, kind of. But ever since the real ID stuff, it's yes, absolutely.
these forms is part of what I was talking about, right? You have to, if you're going to eliminate the ATF altogether, I say go for it. You just have to make sure that people are in place that are there to serve FFLs, that are there to serve us, and don't just say, oh, well, there's not enough of us, so we're going to take a year or 2 years to look at all these NFA items.
That's probably what's going to happen. Let's be honest.
And understand that you're talking about people's rights, okay? And this is not an excuse to just say, oh, well, we have staffing issues, so now it's going to take, 2 years in order to get your items. Hopefully, somebody at
my first NFA item, the suppressor that I showed, this tube, I think it took 10 months. And that was before the real big influx of people buying suppressors and stuff.
Department of Justice understands this and says, hey, we can do without the ATF, totally fine, but we need people here to serve these FFLs and serve these people that are trying to now get these NFA items because there's going to be an influx. Then, of course, you're going to have the lazy Republicans that are going to use this in their next
lazy politicians.
$200 tax stamp for all gun owners because we're totally pro Second Amendment. Knowing good.
Okay, they did not remove the $200 tax stamp. They removed the $200 and made a $0 tax stamp. Or at least that's what they're kind of trying to do.
Well, that they never had any intentions on really fighting to get the entire NFA removed in the first place. They had no intentions on fighting to remove the registry part of it. This is probably the lowest hanging fruit, if you want to be honest. Kind of easy to tie it to a spending bill, and hey, I'm glad they added it back in because they could have easily just said, hey, we tried, guys.
Congress has already been punching at our lower hanging fruit.
That use this as a huge political
isn't going to work for them.
The problem is, will you still have the same fire to get rid of the registry part of it? And here's where you actually have that silver lining I was talking about. And that is that courts could, in theory now, strike down the NFA totally. Because remember, the $200 tax stamp started as not necessarily a way to restrict these items, but to make the process so hard and expensive that it basically deterred people from wanting to buy these items.
It wasn't made to restrict them. It was just made so expensive and so time consuming that it was effectively restricted to only the upper class. But it wasn't restricted.
So it's like, hey, this is going to create a great revenue stream for the government, so everybody kind of gets something out of it. And we didn't restrict it, right? They kind of used the means-end scrutiny, meaning how does the government benefit from this? So that's kind of what they've used in the past to get gun control laws passed. Because it's like, okay, yeah, it kind of restricts a little.
That was an ugly skeletonized lower.
It's in the name of public safety that we can pass these gun laws. Well, thanks to Bruin, that is no longer the standard in which they can use to pass new gun legislation. At least that's not what they're supposed to be doing. So if you say, hey, there's no more revenue stream here, all you have now is this regulation in place, this registry, without any of the money to kind of back up the original quoted intent of the NFA in the first place. Plus, there's a really strong case to say, hey, without the $200 tax stamp, how are we going to upkeep the systems with this registry and the people that run them anyways? So now you have people that are put on a registry, something that is not allowed.
I think that both of those arguments were some of the weaker arguments for why this whole thing is going to be ridiculous now. I've said it before, and I'm about to say it again. The NFA was passed and was upheld by Congress. Not Congress, upheld. It was passed and upheld by the Supreme Court as Congress's power to tax. Without a tax, the NFA fails. It becomes even more unconstitutional than it already was.
totally unconstitutional. You have no money to back that system up. You have restrictions and you have felonies attached to this as well. It is purely regulatory at this point, and the courts could shut it down, especially when you compare it to Bruin, because historically, have we ever, before 1934, did we ever say that you must register your firearms? Absolutely not. It goes against everything the Second Amendment actually stands for. Congress no longer has the power here, right? Their enumerated power, what they originally utilized the NFA for, and collecting taxes on these items, they lose that. And
if the NFA, without utilizing Congress's power to levy a tax, is base level unconstitutional in multiple ways.
And so hence they lose the power to regulate these items, because you are not allowed to have a registry. And so now that's all you're going to have is a registry that stands on its own, knowing that goes against the Constitution. This opens up the doorway to remove the NFA from here on out. Keep a mental note of those guys whenever it comes to election time. It's going to be interesting, man. Again, we're not done here. And so while this is a good step in the right direction, this is not ultimately what we want. We want to go even further with that. And that's just my opinion. But of course, I want to hear yours, whatever it might be. Let me know down below. If you like what I do, consider subscribing. See you in the next one. And as always,
deploying reinforcements.
The Chalice One just followed on Twitch.
The Chalice One. Thank you for the follow. Welcome. It definitely will be very interesting watching this stuff go through the courts if it passes in its current form. It's gonna be a wild ride for sure. Traveler. Problem is, it will get tied up in the courts long enough. Democrats will be in the majority before Supreme Court even thinks about taking a look at it. That is a real possibility, and it is very unfortunate. Can you give an example? Oh no, can I give an example of what? I forgot. Streamer brain has struck. What am I giving an example of? Oh, the Chalice. Factory new Browning High Power Luxus. Limited special edition Browning High Power. Crazy. Oh, you know what I have? You know what I have intended to do? I keep meaning to make like a little chatbot message notification for follows. So I've got a raid one. So stuff that happens in the chat whenever a raid happens. Twitch channel follow, add command, action. Let's get file read, action, read from file, read that one. Add another read from file. File. That one. Oh, I wasn't done. I wasn't done. Or that is a Lexus. You got a Browning Lexus. Don't ask how it's possible. Because it's a great question. I don't know. All right, events. Where was I? I accidentally saved it before. There we go. Action. Chat message. Add. Username. Hold on. Let's do a thank you at username. Oh no, I had an idea, but it requires you guys to have a name. My followers don't have a name. Chat, what are you called? What are you called, chat? The question was about the cons you're talking about at the end of the video. Goobers. You can't just be goobers, chat. You have to be something cool. You gotta be called something cool and chuny. Oh no, I didn't want to make that full screen. Spooky actual. You got your loadout. You got a Mossberg 464 and a PSA Saber 12. The tubes. The tubes. Dark flame Glock. Okay, not that chuny. Not that bad. A cool kind of chuny, chat. Not a weird kind of chuny. Gunnies. Are we gonna do this right now? Are we're gonna name chat right now? Everyone give your ideas, chat. The big chungies. Chat, it's gotta be something like gun related or like vampire related or something. Both if you're really good at making puns. Leave it at chat. Maybe for now. For now, maybe. Eventually, we're gonna have to come up with something better. The detents. But you always lose detents. I don't want to be losing chatters like I lose detents. I'll have to, maybe I have to think about it. All right, there we go. Vampires and the Recoil Coven. That's not bad. Kind of long though. I don't know. I'll have to put in some brain power and maybe ask AI. The Court Brass Goblins. The Court Brass Goblins. Recoil Coven is snappy. I guess Coven is kind of a vampire thing. For some reason, I kind of think of Coven as being a little witchy. That might be a skill issue though. We do now have a Twitch follow. Oh, let's test the command. Let's test the command. Test. Oh, some didn't work. It didn't work. Oh, it's because I can't spell. Okay, let's try that again. There it is. There it is. Now new followers get a gun. The hammers. Maybe. Maybe. If I was a dwarf gun streamer, the hammers would be powerful. That'd be good. Delivered to your house? No, you're not getting your gun gotcha delivered to your house, chat. You get a gun that you can flaunt. You can flaunt it in chat. It's like that NFT gun that they showed at Iwa or wherever that was. The Bitcoin gun. New old army? Yeah, you don't want a new old army? It makes perfect sense. All right, chat. We got another video. We got a TFB video. Since suppressors may be growing in popularity here soon, I might need to get another one. That's some pretty swanky royalty-free music.
Hey guys, welcome back to TFB TV Showtime here in beautiful and currently sunny Cincinnati. No, is it Cincinnati? Cleveland. We're in Cleveland. I'm so sorry, Cleveland.
He doesn't know where he is.
Go Buckeyes.
There you go.
I never went to the school. Is that worse if you say it and you didn't go to the school?
I'm not even from Ohio, so I have no credibility in this.
Well, guys, welcome back to GunCon 2025 here in Ohio, in Cleveland, Ohio. At
GunCon
the building. I am here with Romeo Hotel Engineering. Or Riley, I guess.
Yep.
Oh, I thought his name was just gonna be Romeo.
Yeah,
I'm here with Romeo.
Outfit right now, but I'm hoping we can continue to grow things and see where the future takes us.
Yeah. So Riley, you run a small kind of like I would call it a firearms engineering company, right?
Yeah.
You have a very
Rest in
small
peace, Audio
selection of products
Balance.
right now. One that I'm pretty sure is very meme worthy. It's been passed around a couple of times on Instagram, on 4chan, a few other places.
Oh, yeah.
Holy Allen screws, Batman. How many is that? 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. There's probably a matching number on the bottom as well. That's too many screws. Some bread box. It's huge. Also, this must be upside down. This must be the bottom we're looking at, because there's an angled grip right here, and those usually don't go on the top.
The Thick Boy 12, right?
Yep.
But the other day when we were at the range day sponsored by First Form out there in at the range, you had a pretty interesting muzzle device. Can you tell us more about that?
Sure. So I'll show you guys here too. This is what I call the gyroscopic muzzle brake, or gyro brake for short. And
what?
Basically what this is you have a traditional sort of muzzle brake on the internal feature of this. But the true, I guess, principle behind it is that as you're shooting, your propellant gases actually cause this thing to spool up and spin. And
Okay. That's interesting. I question how well it works, but that's an interesting concept. Customer states, screw number 16 is loose, and shoots gas into my eyes. It's awfully bold of you to assume that the customer knows which screw it is, and has properly identified it with the correct number.
If you think about it, it's the same reasoning why your rifle barrel has rifling in it, because you twist that bullet as it's going down bore. When it's in flight now, it still continues to spin, and that just makes it help resist crosswinds, gravity, and really any other external forces on it to stabilize it. So by putting this on the end of your rifle barrel, as you're shooting higher rates of fire,
the only winner is Big Hex Screw, sponsored by Big Hex Screw.
Dump at high rates of fire in semi-auto, like a lot of us do. As you mag dump into trash, you're gonna hit that trash.
Holy jeez, what are you looking at? This is a gyroscopic muzzle device that has ports that are at like angles and geometry things, so that as you shoot, the gases that come out of the barrel spin the muzzle device, and then theoretically reduce recoil, because things that are spinning take extra force to move. Although it's a relatively low mass compared to everything else, and I'm not sure how good that's going to actually work. But I like and I appreciate the concept.
This because as the round count sort of,
I mean, it's the same concept as like rotating barrel pistols, and the barrel rotation kind of cutting down on the vertical recoil. Except a rotating barrel pistol, the barrel has a lot more mass in terms of a percentage compared to the whole gun than this muzzle device on the end of whatever long gun it is on. Heavy emphasis on theoretically. I like the theory of this muzzle device. Can't wait till it gets unbalanced and all hell breaks loose. It seems like it'd be pretty important for this to be balanced correctly. Put VTuber print on there and watch them spin. It looks like they might be spinning enough that you would just see color. You might not be able to make out your VTuber. Seems like an upgrade from Cyberpunk. It does seem like a very cyberpunky upgrade. Not sure how well it works. Does it make funny noise while spinning? That's the real... I'm glad someone's asking the real questions. That's what we gotta know. I hope it makes a whirring noise. Fidget spinner muzzle device. Probably don't spin it with your fingers, though.
sort of stacks. You're torquing this every shot you fire, and every amount of torque that goes into this.
Okay, it sounds like it might be making some kind of noise back there. Obviously, the audio from this B-roll clip is very low, but it's making some kind of noise.
This drum actually increases that stabilization effect. So we're really excited to show this off today, and it's our new big product.
So with the gyroscopic...
Put a mini harmonica on it. Put 2 mini harmonicas on it so it stays balanced. Weld 1 to each side. Add razor blades, make it weaponized. And nothing like throwing a razor blade sideways when they inevitably come off. My oscilloscopic bayonet device. I put a bayonet on it. A bayonet on each side of it. It's gonna have some kind of like a super sci-fi spinning bayonet on the, on the end of your gun. It'd be perfect. Tactically sound.
Brake, the gyro brake is what you're calling it, right?
Yep.
So with the gyroscopic stabilization, are you finding you're having a more effective brake with that addition to the stabilization component versus just a raw, like a direction?
Tactical propeller, huge. Have the propeller literally pulling the gun forwards so that there's less recoil going into your shoulder. I would add both mass and literal pull force. It'd be perfect. It is the perfect muzzle device. This is how we end up with the Gears of War Lancer. We're almost there, chat. We need someone to innovate this just a little bit further. And then you can have super sci-fi.
And we're going to do some more testing to help demonstrate that to folks. But really, this is it's kind of a muzzle brake or muzzle device in a class of its own. So we can compare it to what's traditionally out there and available, but nothing really has the spinning aspect to it. And we're going to publish some of that information to make sure customers know what they're getting into.
Right, the science behind how it works.
It's also something that speeds up the more you shoot. So the more consecutive shots you take, theoretically, the less recoil you're going to have for each consecutive shot as it speeds up. Obviously, it's going to hit some kind of like maximum speed. It's going to have a terminal rotation velocity. It's like an Apex Legends gun or something, where the longer you hold down left click, the less the recoil happens. Someone called George Kelgren. No, not again. He'll steal someone's idea and do it better. Mods. Dial Caltech in Florida. Speed dial. LED RPM readout. I'm sure that would not be impossible. You should make it.
Works instead of just like believe us.
Exactly. I mean, I can go into the engineering weeds all day, but most people don't want to even try to comprehend that. So
no, tell me. I want to try and comprehend it.
The most beneficial, I think.
Right. So the gyro brake more for your range, range fun, FRT, wide open trigger, all that stuff. Yeah, like you said, mag dumping into trash.
Yep.
But also potential benefit for competitive shooters, right?
Yeah, I think if you're a competitive shooter, now I will be the first one to throw this caveat in there. Gyroscopes, they are directionally sensitive, so if you get this thing spooled up at a really high RPM and you start to pan your rifle to the right, it's actually going to want to cause your muzzle to dip down slightly. So that's why I say, and vice versa, if you pan it to the left, it's going to cause it to want to rise up slightly.
That's called gyroscopic precession for those of you who don't know.
Nerds!
If you're a pilot, you ought to know that. This should be boring to you at this point.
I think that's pretty cool.
Really what I'm focusing on is like rapid fire engagement of a single target, because again, if you're shooting at a high rate,
does it have ball bearings? I don't know how it works inside. They have not told us yet.
Any range where
we just know it spins.
Machine guns, and if they're indoor, you see bullet holes in the ceiling, and a lot of time that comes from those full autos just becoming uncontrollable. So this will help tame that muzzle rise for sure.
So the gyro brake, is that available now?
Yeah, it's available right now.
Link I dropped. Actually, a Florida man. Of course, it's a Florida man.
They're not expected to ship.
Looking at the math behind flywheel stabilized barrels.
But they are coming.
We'll check that out.
We've torture tested this thing. We're good to go.
Speaking of, so what are we talking about in terms of materials? Is it just plain steel, stainless steel, titanium?
So we go with complete construction of chrome moly steel, 4140. So pretty much the standard. Everything's going to come with a nitride finish to begin. Maybe we'll change up, do some special editions down the road of some more decorative finishes. But for now, we want to keep it as palatable as possible for the.
How much does it cost?
Yeah, because most people are just going to have a plain nitrided barrel, right?
Of course.
Yeah.
Yep. So we want it to match. We want it to look clean. And more importantly, we want you guys to have fun with this because that's what it's all about for me.
Yeah, I mean, shooting at the range yesterday was a wild experience because you're getting some extra noise from the spitting portion of it, and it sounds wild in your ear.
It does make noise. Good.
Yeah,
I want to hear the
when you have
noise.
the cheekbone up against the stock, you can feel the vibrations that this thing sends through your gun, and you just know that it's spooling up and it's spinning at a high RPM, and it's an attention getter too. Like if you're around other people,
I wonder if that affects the accuracy of the barrel.
Like, what is that? So it's definitely going to draw some attention toward you.
It's a see-show accessory. Like if you're at the range, it's one of those things like you can't help but resist like letting someone shoot it because you have to shoot it to experience it.
Of course,
yeah.
Of course.
I am a fan of things that turn heads at the range.
12 is another thing. Like, was this your first project for Romeo Hotel when you started the business?
So yeah, that's what sort of launched me into my business.
Yeah, this story is great.
It's the Allen screw nightmare.
So I'll get into the weeds here, but I was just a kid who had a fascination with double barrel shotguns. And when the DP12 was released, I knew it sort of checked all the boxes of something I'm like, I have to own that looks like a lot of fun. Yeah. And as I got into it, I started thinking more and more. I'm like, this might be an excellent suppressor host. And I knew I couldn't rely on anyone to release one because the gun sort of...
Will they make Beyblade ones in the future?
Yeah.
Hopefully.
But when you start looking at all the characteristics coming from the fact that it's in a bullpup configuration, it's got the shortest possible barrels to avoid being SPS at 18.5 inches. When you add the weight and length of a suppressor to a system like that, it doesn't become unwieldy. You don't have a long barrel with the suppressor hanging out in space that now becomes difficult to move around.
DP12s are kind of heavy.
So on top of that,
it does have 2 shotgun barrels and 2 magazine tubes.
Because the action remains locked while you're shooting, you get like a semi-automatic double tap for your first 2 shots before having to pump the action. And that actually helps you keep the ejection port closed, so you have no port pop like any other semi-automatic firearm would incur.
Less chance of gas coming back into your face.
Exactly. There's literally zero.
Must be the most proprietary suppressor ever.
It's honestly
one of the most I would imagine that.
Platforms I have and I shoot.
Now let's talk about the suppressor itself a little bit. You know, normally suppression, like this is all one piece. Like I think my monkey brain, I would have just gone with 2 independent suppressors. So with the one piece design, are you gaining any additional benefit for the other barrel when it's being suppressed?
Yeah, and that's a really good question. So again, as you can see here, these bores are so close together. And many video games failed at this, and I always like give them a hard time. That feature of DP12 being suppressed, you can't put 2 cylindrical suppressors on it. It's too tight together.
And they would have to be very thin suppressors.
Separate chambers, basically, for the right side and the left side.
If you scan a QR code from DP12, does it give your phone a virus? I've not tried. It probably just pulls up a PDF of the manual.
Quieter shooting experiences.
So there's basically bypass channels inside the I guess like the 2 separate chambers for each barrel. Okay, so they're kind of sharing space.
Yep. So the gas has got to flow down.
Huge expansion chamber.
The suppressor, and it cuts over to the other side, back up and out. And so it's really turned out to be efficient. And when you pair with subs,
it's efficient at everything except for the number of Allen screws, which they maximized. It's too many. Wait, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. It's a lot of Allen screws.
Sonic ammunition. I just shoot without E Pro. It's comfortable to me, and to me, you can't beat that experience at the range.
Yeah, I wish we would have had an entirely suppressed line at the range the other day, because you did bring out some subsonic buckshot. Yep. You know, that would have been the perfect example.
Subsonic buckshot.
Subsonic buckshot and slugs, it's just a dream come true with this thing.
So Riley, let's say I own a DP12 and I want to suppress it. How much does one of these suppressors cost?
So these suppressors right now retail for about $12.50. We do pre-orders sort of every now and then just due to the...
Okay, $12.50 for a custom proprietary accessory? Especially a custom proprietary NFA regulated accessory. That's not bad. That's not bad.
The expense, but we've been making these for a while now, a few years, and there's a bunch of them out in the wild. So if this is something.
Make one that looks like an electric pencil sharpener. I'm sure you could 3D print a housing for it that would do just that.
Do I need to buy any additional chokes or anything like that to attach to the DP12, or does it come with everything I need?
No, that's the best part too. So this comes with extended choke tubes that just replace your factory choke tubes, and it comes with a tool that basically everything you need to install, change from suppressed to unsuppressed, and vice versa. So everything you need is right in the box. It's just all you got to do is commit.
I mean,
60% of the cost is hex screws. At least 50 is hex screws.
Well, Raleigh, thank you so much for showing us obviously the gyro brake.
There's a lot of hex screws.
And of course the Thick Boy 12. And guys, stay tuned for more from GunCon 2025 here on TFB TV and TFB TV Showtime.
That's some pretty funky royalty-free music. The use of standard components like hex screws keeps the cost down. Yeah. For the jokes we're making about them spending all the money on hex screws, they're probably just standard hex screws they're buying from like Harbor Freight or something. No reason for that to cost over $500, but it's an NFA item. And the cost of NFA items, particularly suppressors, is very much inflated. I didn't realize there was another gun show going on, chat. Is there anything cool released? Any new videos? Oh, KCI. KCI's got new 5.56 AK double D mags, chat. I don't have a 5.56 AK, but maybe I need one. KCI? Yes, KCI.
Hey guys, welcome back to TFB TV Showtime. I'm Luke C, and I'm here.
The music was better on the last video. Music, I bring back the cool music. Bring back the funky music.
Here at GunCon 2025 in Cleveland, Ohio. I'm here with my good friend Seth.
We'll get it.
Ferocious. My 5.56 AK became less budget friendly in some ways. Serbia. Is it a Zastava? Now you can sell it on Gunbroker for like $2,500. I know what I got. I know what I got. Rare pre-import ban Zastava. There you go. My local gun shop has a Draco-sized AK in 5.56. It's probably the Zastava ZPAP M85. I think that's the 5.56 pistol.
From KCI USA, they've got a couple of new magazines for us and something else special that you guys have not seen yet. So Seth, welcome to GunCon. It's good to see you again.
Yeah, it's good.
85 is 7.62. I don't know which numbers are which, chat. 85 is one of them. And that's what I pulled out of my head. We could look. I literally am sitting at a computer. Zastava. Store. Firearms. AKs. Alright, what do we got? M70. Okay. So M91. Big Boy. M77. That's a 308. M80. That's still a rifle. 85. I was right. I was gaslighting me, saying I don't know which one's which. 85. That is a 5.56 mag right there. 5.56 223. Freaking gaslighting me. Tell me that it's 7.62. 92 is 7.62. 70 is full size. Which one's 92? 92 is the short 7.62. M70 is full size 7.62. M90 is full size 5.56. M77 is 308. M91 7.62 by 54. Yes. Oh no, I dyslexic the guns. It was close. The 85 and the 92 are both the short versions. I really want to make one of these a crank. I want a ZPAP 85 crank. That'd be cool. Except you'd have to have like custom gunsmithing done to put in the folding trunnion on the back. I guess you could just put a Picatinny on the back. Yeah. Yeah. Ferocious. I didn't want the short ones anyways, so it's still pretty good for just going over the listings. It's true. It's true. Fair enough.
It's hot out there.
So you've got some. You guys are well known for making a lot of cool, like some of the more novel magazines, and you guys came out with a, the Beta C, like the updated Beta C, and enough people yelled at you that you came out with another one.
Yeah. So with the rising popularity, when we talked about this at last GunCon, I think TriggerCon as well, we talked about this as well. Yeah. So it's been kind of teasing it for about a year or so, but with the rising popularity,
how well do these actually work?
Yep. In competition or even just generally, I used to be strictly, if you go buy an AK, go buy 7.62, but now, unfortunately, I don't think that's sound advice. So
I think the ammo is a little bit more expensive now, right?
Just a tad. So you just go 5.56. So we went just big with.
Rest in peace, 5.45. 5.45 best AK caliber. I don't have one because I cannot afford to shoot it, even if I had one.
With it, and finally the 100-round drum for your 5.56 AK is released. It's in production, and we are so stoked about this.
So, what made you guys specifically want to do
but
like
why?
5.56 drum mag
why?
instead of like, say like a 50-round like 7.62 mag drum mag?
So honestly, kind of the story behind this was actually really funny. So this would have been 2 years ago, like the day before we flew out for Kalash Bash. We were kind of just brainstorming like, what can we do that's a little different? And within...
They should have made a 5.56 AK snail mag. Give me the snail mag.
In a couple hours, we were able to take spare parts from old products and things of that nature and assemble the first 4 prototype 5.56 AK drums.
So and like bondoed, like top magazine body with like a hacked, like, 5.56.
Just about, yes. And those prototypes were still out in the wild, and they were ran at Kalash
They made a
Bash
Bubba magazine.
They were received with good response, and we ran with it and took it into true R&D and production, and like now it's here and fine-tuned and...
Spooky. You want a Zastava M93? Wonder how expensive those are now? I don't think... Probably the prices haven't increased too much. But they will be. Oh, you know what? Since we're talking about Zastava right now, we can go back to the KCI Funny Mag here in a second. Zastava, for those who don't know, the Zastava stuff that's going on. So Zastava, on the 23rd of last month, so like just over a week ago, Serbia decided to stop the export of all arms and ammo. Which is unfortunate, because obviously Zastava, but also PPU ammo gone. And so with Serbia passing this export ban of arms, they did have in their export ban, they had built in that you could like apply to have an exception made to still make exports for certain things, certain places. But without that like special export permit for each export, your export's not going to make it out. So hopefully, Zastava exporting to the US civilian market their semi-auto guns will be approved whenever they get around to it. But unfortunately, they had an export that was already set to export from the country that got held. So it's not looking good. It's not looking good. So chat, I'm not going to tell you to go panic buy a Zastava. But if you were looking at and kind of thinking about buying one anyways, now is probably the time. Now is probably the time. Don't delay too much. Because the prices, they're not going to go up instantly. Zastava still is going to have some in stock at their import facility. There's still some, at distributors, at dealers. So they're not going to dry up instantly, but they are going to dry up pretty fast. Because Zastava is a good name for AKs. And they sell a lot of them. They're going to go quick. It'd be a shame if the US stopped funding Serbia. I don't know if we do. I just assume we fund everyone. We may not directly fund them, but the US basically funds everyone's defense because the US is the global police force, right? Spooky. Got my M70 in 2020 for like 800. This is what preparedness feels like. So obviously, the price for Zastavas has gone up since 2020. A lot has happened since 2020 to increase prices. But I do definitely expect prices to go up if there's not news from Zastava here pretty soon. Also, if you've got your weird ammos that you need to buy, your PPU, your privy partisan, however you pronounce that ammo, you probably get some of that too. Don't panic buy it. I'm not telling you to panic buy here. But if you were kind of thinking like you needed some anyways, well, it's time. CZ Rally. I think after fees and taxes, I get one for below 1,500. Yeah, so you can still get Zastavas for 900 to 1,000 when I checked a couple days ago. Let's see. Where What are they going for right now? We can look it up. We have the technology. Zastava. Oh man. Well, are they in stock here? Availability in stock. Okay, okay. Brand Zastava. Okay, so Atlantic here, they still have. Wow. Wow, the prices did go up fast. Yeah, when I checked a few days ago on Zastava prices, they were $900 to $1,100. And now the cheapest one is the Zastava M70 Molen Lob at $1,125. Oh, the format of this page changed when I came back to it. Panic? Yeah, people are starting to panic. So it looks like Atlantic is completely sold out of the Zastava pistols. They only have the rifles, and the prices have shot up already. Not a terrible price for the RPK. This one's not bad. $1,500 for the RPK version. That one probably hasn't changed much. But some of these other ones, just like standard, like this right here, standard Zastava AK, $1,300. So the price of Zastavas is already going up, chat. Gun industry not increase margins when something bad happens challenge. Difficulty impossible. Oh, with free bayonet, you're right. You're right, it is with free bayonet. This is not the standard one because it comes with a bayonet. A $300 bayonet, apparently. So don't panic buy, chat. Don't panic buy. But if you see a Zastava at a good price, and you were planning on getting one anyways, it might be about time. It might be the right time to do that. Wood better than wire? So wood definitely more comfortable than an underfolder. I don't mind the triangle folders though. The triangles are okay. Underfolders, highly uncomfortable. Locally, my options are Riley or Zastava. You have PSA. PSA is everywhere. There's always PSA. Actually, speaking of PSA, let's check. Zastava, PSA. Can I sort by only in stock here? Sort by... Is there not an option on PSA to show only in stock? Show only in stock. There we go. There it is. I just can't read. Okay, chat. Hold on. PSA. There you go. 12, 13, 12, 12, 11, 11. That's 170th anniversary edition. Wowee. So 1100, 1100. $900. There you go, chat. That's the pistol version. The 92. Pistol 1,000. 1,000. 3,000. These ones have always been ridiculously expensive, though. Yeah, so, yeah, it does seem prices have increased at least a little bit everywhere. PSA has more in stock than Atlantic, though. Atlantic might be a little bit more go-to for people buying non-PSA AKs. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what happens with Zastava. They do have their 4th of July sale, though. It's only on accessories. Get the Zastava July 4th sale on accessories and Durnch. Riley's quality has come up a fake Afiac, as Riley's quality has come up as far as I know. Got it. I figured it out. As far as I know, I got there. I just had to sit there and think about it like an old man for a little bit. So Riley, not as bad as they used to be. I probably still would choose PSA over Riley for AKs. I'm gonna be honest. Hey, this PSA is not wonderful. I would go Zastava over PSA, but PSA, they're decent. The PSA AKs are decent. They are good enough. All right, back to Funny Mag. Back to Funny Mag.
We couldn't be happier. We're so stoked. And even
the
more
double
so,
D Mag. Chat's even got nipples. They're hex screws. If your nipples look like this, go to a doctor.
When we originally released the original 100-round AR drum, it was before the new crew and everything, and we've even made some updates to that drum as well. If you even look at kind of the aesthetics on the drum body itself compared to maybe drums you've seen in the past, we made some aesthetic changes along with some interdimensional changes within the body itself.
Interdimensional changes, chat. They broke through the time-space continuum to make changes to this AK. Those aren't even hex screws. I know. They're Phillips screws. How dare they? Non-Euclidean mag capacity.
To better performance, not only with this new magazine, but the old AR as well.
Right. And you guys said that you know, as part of like the treatment, when it goes out of the door, it comes with its own case, and then you guys typically pre-lubricate it with graphite, right?
So they come pretty caked with.
They come lubed. You've got international. You've got interdimensional double D magazines with nipples that come lubed from the factory. What else could you ask for?
With graphite, but it does have a spare thing as well. If it does run dry, if you run this dry, so the amount of graphite that's in there, that's impressive. But you get the graphite, you got
King Panzer, your nipples look like hex screws.
Extremely crucial because without that, you cannot load this correctly, and you will.
I don't think that's correct. I think there might be something wrong.
So it's got an instruction manual for
it's
basically.
Got an instruction manual. We're in the process.
Quantum entanglement customer service.
Videos on our YouTube page as well. It's more updated and more detailed as well.
Cool. So I mean, that's the 100-round AK drum.
You gotta use your Ant-Man suit, get into the quantum realm to get customer service.
Mag. How much is it going to cost roughly?
Same as the AR.
Same price.
Yep.
Okay, cool.
$199.
Here now, right? It's
available.
We're not.
$199. That's the price of a tax stamp.
Teasing them anymore. This is available now.
It's finally here. We've been teasing it for like a year and a half now. Go bug your dealers. Tell them to go order it. If you have a 5.56 AK and you want to burn it down, especially like the rising AK competitions, Kalash Bash.
That or like there's FRTs out there for AKs. So
we're looking to grab a few.
There we go. It's right up. I mean, this is almost like a renaissance in terms of like.
And wait, KCI grabbing a few as in they're gonna purchase someone else's or they're gonna make their own.
Fun, right? Because everyone likes to take guns seriously. We should. Right?
Well, for the longest time, we took guns super seriously, and like
this is fun.
It's just it's have a good time, you know. Like, and if you don't make rent that month, then I'm sorry.
You at least you shot some stuff.
Yeah.
Right?
Hey, chat. If you don't make rent because you spent $200 on a funny titty magazine, then you deserve whatever happens to you. I'm sorry. If spending $200 on a magazine is going to make it so you can't pay rent, you have made some terrible life decisions. Don't buy that magazine. Yeah, save some money.
Speaking of fun, actually speaking of seriousness, like the AK drum mag is fun, but you guys have just come out with something that's like almost like a divorce from your normal product line.
Just a tad. So.
New product?
Basically a sister company,
okay.
Combat Defense Industries. And basically our lead product going into that is this guy.
Okay, so is this
a helmet
or is this a ballistic helmet? That's going to be everyone's first question because that's always the big, argument. Do I
the motorcycle helmet?
3A ballistic.
So 3A ballistic. Now tell everyone out there, 3A is rated up to it's 44 Magnum.
Yep. So all your big pistol rounds, 44 Mag 327, and then with 3A you get some light grainage rifle caliber. So like. M193, like 55 grain,
right.
Like you'll have some slight protection in that regard, but not level 4. By true rifle rounds, you're like
right.
As nice as this is, it's not stopping 54R.
Yeah, it's not going to stop 308.
Swiss cheese essentially.
How dare?
But again, there's pros and cons to all that. So you 3A, plenty of protection, and then it's weight savings. So this is the XL model, and an XL for like my big noggin only comes in at like 3.4 pounds. The large is 3.1, and the medium is just a tad under 3.
Okay. So let's talk about that's materials. Let's talk a little bit about the set of features you guys have put on this helmet because that's
features.
Helmets are kind of a niche.
I need to attach my anime girl figures to my helmet.
Night vision's becoming.
What are the attachment options?
Yeah, and affordable. And speaking of affordable, you said this is what, like $550?
So on the high end, full MSRP hasn't quite been locked in.
It's got Velcro on there. It's a lot of Velcro.
Production and brand launch. August, September, we're still crossing T's and dotting I's, some admin stuff getting taken care of. But on the high end, $549.
Okay, so $549, and then for $549, what comes shipped on the helmet?
So basically everything you see here. So you have obviously your shell with all your Velcro for your like tomahawks, battery packs, whatever you need. Arc compatible railing on both sides, battery pack loop on the back end here, fully adjustable straps as well as a back retention system for fine adjustments on the nape of your head. And then the big
nape
is up front with
that's where you find the guy inside the Titan.
Shroud.
Go through the
original
nape.
prototypes were a one piece, and we decided to go to a two piece for better locking as well as better fitment across all the basically Wilcox and Wilcox clones and different mounts for night vision. So it's a polymer housing with an aluminum billet locking block.
Okay.
It's compatible for your breakaway and everything like that. And then dual bungee as well. So you get a lot of retention, a lot of stability if you're rocking really heavy setup up front, because again, all that weight coming down, like if you're bougie and rocking quads, it's a lot of weight up there.
It's $30,000.
You got your nods.
Just about to fall off of your helmet. Yeah. So optimistic timeline. When do you expect the full lineup of helmets to come out?
So if you want to stay up to date, you follow the Instagram. So it's Combat Defense.
Instagram.
Okay. But again, full brand launch, and contrary to KCI, because KCI we have never
Instagram is such a
store sell direct to the public.
I don't know why does that platform exist still, chat.
So it will be an actual website.
I hate Instagram.
And you can go and buy it from the website, or dealers will also be stocking as well.
Cool. Well, I mean, it's interesting to see you guys kind of pivot from, the magazine industry to jump into helmets. Do you mind if I ask you what made you guys want to do that? Something like, was there something you guys saw that the customers need that you felt like you guys could offer?
So all of our all of our
slapping his mic, rude.
South Korea. So our factory in South Korea has been doing ballistic helmets since like the 80s, and using this very cool it's a aramid material.
South Korean helmets?
With
a South Korean setup.
Thermal monocles.
Clone correct?
We'll say acceptable and affordable. You can now it's not just doing.
Go with your K2 that you also can't buy.
There's a lot of different applications, and we saw a need for a really solid helmet that'll give you the protection that any civilian would need for an inexpensive price point. And again, it's just something different, and frankly, it's not something that you see come up in the
not in the BATFA. Mounted my nods to a free Vortex baseball cap.
So,
but will your free Vortex baseball cap stop 44 Magnum?
That material with modern US features
probably still give you a TBI.
Market, and
but you can probably have an open casket funeral.
Into this room, the battery pack features, the fact that your tension adjustment is flush inside the back of the helmet instead of sticking out, allows you for a lot more variety there. So
absolutely, and
kind of a neat feature that I don't, a lot of people probably wouldn't notice. But it's,
you see like within the helmets a lot of proprietary systems.
Yeah,
and we will be releasing eventually Gen 2s and stuff and making upgrades upon this, but we want it to be a somewhat modular system to be able to majority of what you can find, be able to find accessories, everything.
A non-proprietary system.
OpsCore high cut helmet.
Do they know what they're doing? How dare they? How dare they do something so bold as to make a non-proprietary system?
Direct to drop in onto this shelf.
All compatible with it.
Correct. Yeah. So on my personal helmet, I'm running an Agilite. So.
Okay. Yeah. Is there any possibility down the road that you guys will be selling essentially stripped versions of this? Because I know some people like to take their own hardware on vanilla, just blank helmets and attach them to it. Is that a possibility?
That's not a discussion we've had yet. We have done some cross compatibility with different manufacturers, accessories, stuff like that. We know an actual Wilcox shroud will mount directly onto this and stuff like that nature. We will be releasing more media, kind of going more depth into that.
Not in the bad. I don't expect Wildlife or the Stars to be slinging 44 mag at your noggin.
That's really cool, Seth. Thank you so much.
I don't know. Wild hogs are pretty mean.
CDI.
So basically going CDI for short, but the full name is Combat Defense Industries.
Combat Defense Industries.
If you, like I said, if you want to stay up to date currently,
someone's going to start arming the wild hogs, and then you're going to wish you had this ballistic helmet.
Okay, cool. And then, of course, the 100-round magazine from, KCI.
KCI USA, yep.
Classic KCI USA, just always making the stuff that we want, but we're ashamed to admit that we want someone to build for us. So
sometimes you can just have fun. It's okay.
That's right. So thank you so much, Seth, for coming on the show and, of course, showing us all your guys' new, cool new products. And, guys, stay tuned for more from GunCon 2025 here at TFB TV and TFB TV Showtime.
All right, chat. Who's getting the 5.56 AKTD mag? Oh, where is it? They said it was on their website. Where is it? AK. It's not on their website. They lied to me. They lied to me. They only have the AR one. They only have the AR-15 one. Where's the AK one? I want the AK titty mag, not the AR one. Unbelievable. I can't believe they lied to me like that. How much does the AR1 cost? MSRP $199. Maybe they have it at like distributors. Oh, it only costs 124 at Gun Mag Warehouse, chat. The AR one, not the AK one. No one has the AK one. Influencers have it, but I can't find it for sale anywhere. Clayco 47 has one though. Oh, he manifested it. Probably got sponsored to show it. Better start influencing us if you want one. I don't know. I think I influenced today. I got someone to buy the MSBS magazine. The Grot mag. I influenced that. I influenced so hard. Panic? No need to panic over these. Don't panic over these. These will probably be fine. Probably. For now. For now, they'll be fine. You know what, chat? You know what? I changed my mind. You need to panic buy everything. Everything imported, it can be gone. In a flash. In the blink of an eye. Buy it all. Yeah, buy it all right now. Everything imported. Pet gun. Pet pistol. Pet pistol. The Rost Martin. This is one of the guns that I've not shot. If I'm able to go shooting on the 4th, like I would like to, I need to shoot this gun. Just impulse acquisition. Rost Martin. It does seem like a pretty good gun though. Having not actually shot it, only dry fired it. It's probably slightly smaller than Glock 19 size, but with more features, chat. Optics plate. It's got a full rail instead of the one little slot. Still has 15 round mag, but they're metal. And the trigger, pretty nice. It's kind of heavy, but very crisp. Pet de Grot mag. Just the magazine. Still has Glock takedown, no buy. Why do you hit the Glock takedown? I mean, there's a lot of things to hate about Glocks. Why the takedown though? Is it because you don't like having to pull the trigger to take your gun down? Lever more better. So you just like other things better. There's nothing particularly against it. It's just better options. So the takedown on this, we are empty. If you just pull down the lever, it doesn't come apart. You do have to decock it. And then it just falls off the top. It is, the takedown on this, slap mic. The takedown on this is very strange. So the takedown, you basically just like mush it on the top. You just mush it on the top. And then take it down. It just like falls off. It feels very strange taking this gun apart. It just falls off the top. And you just kind of press it back down on the top. Come on. It is very strange. This is a very strange gun to take down. Come on, get off. It basically just pops right off the top. It's very odd. And to put it back on, you can see the point where it kind of like rocks on there. And you just push it back on. It feels weird to take this gun apart. BBW Fart. What a name. Every killed anyone. Who is Every? And why does he kill everyone? But unfortunately, banned. No, I haven't killed anyone. Chat, this might be a hot take. Don't kill people. I know that's a bit of a hot take there. But maybe we shouldn't kill people. Oh man. Bummer. Sorry I ruined your plans for tomorrow. What a clown. What a clown. Imagine rolling into someone's chat and being like, hey, have you abandoned your soul and taken the life of another human being? Was that Kick? That was Kick. Average Kick behavior. Yeah, I guess now that Kick chat is also shown on screen, you guys get to see the shenanigans that happen in Kick chat. I must say that adding the words viewer and community to the block terms list on Kick I've not seen a single bot post since that happened. You know, people who don't like guns commit the most shootings. It's true. Well, probably like gangbangers. I don't know if you can say that they don't like guns. And they definitely commit the most shootings. Gangbangers just have a perverted view of guns. I don't think they think, so they don't count. I don't know. I can't argue that one. I can't argue with that one. Yeah, I don't know. Don't kill anyone, chat. It's possible to own guns and not have the intention to literally murder people. I do believe that's most gun owners. I own guns because I think they're cool and they're fun and it's a nice hobby. Although it is very bad for my wallet, I must say. Gangbangers definitely don't know how to use them, so they don't count. Yeah, that is true. There's definitely a lot of videos and stories of gangbangers just emptying a magazine at someone and everyone walks away unharmed, other than their increase in tinnitus level. There's also more stories than there should be of people just like loading the magazine with the ammo backwards, because gangbangers are completely and entirely uneducated about the guns that they idolize. So there's lots of pictures. This is a snap cap, not a real ammos. It's a lot of pictures out there of people who have like crammed their ammo in backwards, like it's a Boberg or something, and that's not gonna work. It's not gonna work. It goes in this way, with the bullet pointing forwards. So that way, it actually is pointing the correct direction. There that goes. Come here. Actually, I'm gonna be honest, I have never tried. What happens? What happens if you put it in backwards and try to run the slide? This doesn't even want to stay in the magazine. This barely stays in the magazine. All right, we've got our bullet in backwards, chat. Our bullet, our round. We got it backwards like a Boberg. We Boberg loaded our gun. Wow. Would you look at that? It didn't work. Incredible. Wow. Crazy. Can you imagine? Where did that go? I don't know where that went. I'll find it after stream. It's here somewhere. Crazy. It's crazy how when you load the ammo backwards, it doesn't work. I'm pretty sure if you actually did that with a real round, it would probably mush the round forward into the casing. So then not only do you have a non-functional gun, but you also have a small brass-colored piece of danger. Stop yawning. Why am I yawning? Oh, it's because it's 12:30. Has there... Oh no, chat. I had an intrusive thought. And now it's time to impulsively check on the status of the OBBB to see how it's doing. 2 hours ago, Speaker Mike Johnson just told Hannity, "I'll keep the vote open for as long as it takes." I don't know what that means. I don't know what that vote's for. Vote for the change to the rules passage. And they're voting on the rule itself, which sets the terms for how the bill will be debated, amended, and considered on the floor. Okay, so they're voting on how they're going to argue about it. Good job. Okay. Wow. Wow. Wowee. I love having to vote on how to argue. To make it better, it was an ex-Giffords employee. Oh wait, hold on. I missed the first one. There's a news article where someone loaded their ammo backwards, Googled bullet stuck backwards, gave up trying to fix it, left, bought a new gun the following day, and went back again. Like someone... It's like someone was trying to do something nefarious like that. Like someone was trying to do something nefarious, got stopped because they couldn't load their gun. An assassination attempt. Oof, there it is. So now that I'm like thinking more about loading the gun backwards, like, so if you, oh, I'm just throwing everything. Oh my goodness. So if you load your ammo backwards, get it together, got butterfingers. Like this is like barely held in there. Like this thing is trying to come out. I can see a very real situation where when you load this and drop the slide on the back of, oh, you can't see it because my fingers are in the way. Let's see if I can hold this back. You know what? We're just gonna disassemble the gun because that's easy with this thing. On the barrel, it has these little lips. It's got these little lips here. I can see a backward loaded bullet hitting the primer. Oh, where am I going? I can see a backward loaded bullet going and hitting the primer on one of those and discharging outside of the barrel, pointing backwards inside your gun. I can see that happening pretty easily if you load your ammo backwards in the magazine. Because it's not going to follow the feed lips correctly. It's going to be at the wrong angle, and it's not going to work because that's not how it was made to work. I can definitely see this angling, hitting the primer on that, going off. If you do that, deserved, honestly. I mean, it's not ideal. It's not ideal for sure. Although, I guess if you are doing that, then you probably are a nefarious person trying to do nefarious things that you shouldn't be doing with your gun. The slide release on this is so stiff. Oh my goodness. That probably would break in if I was going to shoot that gun quite a bit. Yeah, so chat, don't load your bullets backwards. Don't do that. That is a recipe for bad. It's a recipe for bad. That'd be one hell of an oob story. Out of battery story. If that ever happened to me, I would never tell that story ever. I would never tell that story. Well, I might tell that story. If I wasn't like seriously injured, it could be a funny learning opportunity story. Brocious, gotta go to bed. I potentially have an interview tomorrow. I say potentially because they go, can you make an interview at this time? And I tried to confirm because they never responded again and nothing. So we shall see. Well, congratulations on your possibility for an interview. Hopefully their communication is better in the actual job than it is during the interview process, if you get it. Having worked places where internal communication is terrible, it's not fun. Highly not fun. Brocious. It's an hour away, so I don't care either way. Need a job, an hour commute. You can spend 2 hours driving every day. Probably an 8-hour workday turned into a 10-hour workday because of driving. The American dream. Better than being unemployed, though. CZ. My job is about poor internal communication. Are you the federal government? Are you the bureaucracy? It says 10-hour, but it's a range. Pip tart, not the pip tart. Just speed. Just drive faster, and then you don't have to commute as long. Easy. Nothing. Quick, hurry up, nothing's happening. 207, 217, 8 no votes. I think Envy is no vote, right? I don't know what these 8 people are doing. Probably sleeping. Nevada. Get 8 Nevada. or didn't make it in. Possibility. 5 nay votes for R. 212. Right on partisan lines. Except for these 5. I guess they're just gonna sit here. They're just gonna sit here until these people make a decision. Even if all of these people vote yes, it still wouldn't be enough. If all 8 of these people vote yay, that sits at 215 to 217. So they need all 8 of these and these, not all 5 of these, but some of these. Tratters. I'm pretty sure either one of these or one of these is Clyde. And probably one of these is Massey. Clyde is no vote. Massey is a no. Yeah, Trump and Massey are big angry at each other right now. I mean, Clyde voted no. Who wrote that confusingly? That was very confusingly written. Traders in suits and ties. I mean, yeah. A little bit. They're probably just going to sit here all night. They're just going to sit here until people get bored of them sitting here. And then someone's going to change their vote to yeah. Ferocious. I'm okay with this. They shouldn't pass it without full HPA and short. They shouldn't. They should not. I think the HPA and short getting added are unlikely. Not off the table yet, since, well, it's not done. It's not over till it's over. Massey. Mr. I voted no because I read the bills and they're horrible. How dare he? How dare he read the bills and come up with an opinion that they're terrible? A free thinker? That might be a little generous. That might be a little generous. The Peacock Republicans want passed by the 4th. They better put it in. Yeah, the whole reason that this bill is being pushed and like attempted to be rushed through is because of Trump's showman signing it on the 4th deadline. And that's dumb. I'm gonna be honest, that's dumb. Trump is a showman. And like, yeah, would it be kind of neat? Like, oh, sign the thing on the 4th of July. You get to have your big cameras out and pointing at you. Yeah, sure. But I would rather actual good legislation go through. Hot take. Hot take. I would rather good legislation than a press statement. Ferocious. Wouldn't be shocked if there's actual gun control buried in there somewhere. Is there? There must be somewhere. Is there an actual full text of the bill somewhere? HR 1 text. Let's see. 7/1/2025. Oh, computer didn't like that. Oh. .xml. An unreadable .xml. Ew. Ew, is there a PDF? Text available as... Oh no, there's a PDF. Oof. Oof. Open. Alright, here we go. Control find firearm. Okay, there we go. So what we're on page 454. 454. Ferocious, good night. You mean don't want to watch me read and analyze this, whatever's going on here? Alright, section 70436, reduction of transfer and manufacturing taxes for certain devices. The bill is so massive it breaks their trash website if they display it normally. That means it's too big. Alright, transfer tax, section 5811A is amended to read as follows. A. Rate. There shall be levied, collected, and paid on firearms transferred a tax of $200 for each firearm transferred in the case of a machine gun or destructive device, and $0 for any firearm transferred which is not described in paragraph 1. That'd be suppressors, short-barreled shotguns and rifles, and AOWs. And that's transfer. So this is Form 4. Form 4 fee. Making tax, section 5821A, is amended to read as follows. A. Rate. There shall be levied, collected, and paid upon the making of a firearm a tax at the rate of $200 for each firearm made in the case of a machine gun or a destructive device. Time to file for a Form 1 for a machine gun. 2. $0 for any firearm made which is not described in paragraph 1. So same text as before. Suppressors, short-barreled rifle, short-barreled shotguns, and AOWs. Conforming amendment. Section 4182A is amended by adding at the end of the following. For purposes of the preceding sentence, any firearm described in section 5811A2 shall be deemed to be a firearm on which the tax provided by section 5811 has been paid. I have no idea what this means. For purposes of the preceding sentence, any firearm described in section 5811A2. Okay, so that's for any firearm not described in paragraph 1 shall be deemed a firearm on which the tax provided by section 5811 has been paid. Okay. Oh, I figured it out. This is basically saying, for tax purposes, anything that you pay $0 for is deemed tax paid. Got it. Effective date. The amendments made by this section shall apply to calendar quarters beginning 90 days after the date of the enactment of this act. So if, huge if here, 90 days from July 4th. It's October 2nd. So if this is signed on July 4th, that would mean that it would go into effect on October 2nd. Which means that on October 2nd, the e-filing system is definitely going to be overloaded and crashed. And all the instances of firearm, just looking for other things in the bill, are all right in that one section. If you search for gun, what is this? $167 million for accelerated fielding of Army short-range gun-based air and missile defense system. It doesn't look like there's any other firearm-related stuff going on in this bill. Did you follow the story about a decade ago when the ATF approved Form 1 machine guns for a handful of trusts? I didn't follow it as it happened, but I heard about it afterwards. So, yes. Yes, I heard about it. I mean, there's text in the NFA that says you should be able to Form 1 a machine gun. So, I mean, what's really stopping you? Other than the Hughes Amendment. All right, chat. I think it might be about time to call stream. I'm getting pretty tired. And I do have to be up tomorrow. I actually have to wake up tomorrow. Cringe. But I do. So we are going to raid out. Who do we raid, though? Chat, who do we raid? This is the hardest part of the stream. Raiding out. Thanks for streamer. You're welcome, viewer, for the view. We're gonna raid. I know who we're gonna raid. We're gonna raid Sigfreda. We're gonna raid Sigfreda because you guys were talking about Hans game. And that's what he's doing. So I will see you all. Tomorrow's Thursday. I will be streaming tomorrow. Friday stream. Friday is my birthday, as well as the birthday of America, of the United States. So Friday stream is up in the air. I am going to try to go shooting on Friday, not a range stream. I do not have that set up for that. Saturday is a guns deep dive stream, looking at the history of Calico. And then Sunday is a gun cleaning stream. So we got stuff. We got stuff this week, chat. But I will be back tomorrow. Tomorrow, just another standard just chatting stream. So I will see you all next time. Thank you for stopping by. Yes, raid message. Thank you, not the Batfa, for the raid messages there. Everyone grab your raid message. And I will see you all next time. Not the Batfa. Goodbye. Goodbye, Potato, CZ, Rally, Ferocious, Warlorder. I will